Hello everybody, it is Mike again, and today we're going to be taking a look at the newly remade Praetorium dungeon from the A Realm Reborn main scenario questline. And remade this dungeon certainly is, with most of the cutscenes deleted, the number of trash mobs slashed, and even minor visual improvements made to small things like the Magitek armor bay. It certainly is a well thought out redesign. So let's go ahead and jump on in so you can see for yourself just how different everything is. First thing that you're going to notice is that you can no longer skip any of the trash mobs. You can, however, do wall-to-wall pulls, and outside of having to dodge some AoEs from above in certain areas, which is certainly annoying if you're playing a caster, there's absolutely nothing to any of the trash, so I have nothing more to say about them. To the bosses. And the first one, much like before, is the Mark II Magitek Colossus. Now this guy is really simple. Just pull him and hold him in the center. I mean, you don't really have to, but he's going to return to the center for certain attacks anyway, and it just makes things easier. The first attack he's going to do, and an attack you're going to see throughout the fight, is Cerulean Vent, an unavoidable room-wide AoE that will do moderate damage. A single AoE heal spell is all you should need to recover from this. Prototype Laser Alpha is another AoE that's going to create 8 pools of yuck in a cross pattern. The inner 4 will explode first, followed by the outer 4. Be sure you're not standing in any of them, and you're good to go. Prototype Laser Beta is going to target each player individually for medium damage. Spread out so you and everyone else are only standing in your own indicators to minimize damage. And as always, move back in after the attack so your healer can reach you with an AoE heal. Now, side note, much like any time you see an attack like this, the indicators themselves can overlap, so don't worry about spreading out too far. However, no one should be standing where they overlap. And finally, Grand Sword is a large conal AoE. Step out of the yuck to avoid it. And with that, the Mark II Magitek Colossus is down, and you can move on to the next boss, our friend Nero to Scaeva. Much like before, the outside borders of this arena are gonna become electrified, but now this electrification will place a bleed effect on you, so you're gonna wanna stay out of it. Nero will also begin this fight with his tank buster, Spine Shatter. Simply mitigate damage and heal as per the usual with tank busters. He's going to follow this up with Augmented Shatter, which is indicated by this marker. Now, if you do not know this marker, let it be burned into your memory. Carve it into your brain, because this is one of the most common indicators you're going to see in this entire game. And whenever you see it, you're going to want to run toward your party, and everybody is going to want to stack up within that indicator. So it produces damage that's split between everyone inside, and if not enough people stack up, whoever is inside is going to take some pretty heavy damage and possibly be killed, which I've seen wipe party after party over the past 10 years. So stack up, and healers, get your AoE heals ready. Activate is the first part of a 2-part attack, and will summon a Magitek hand that's going to tether itself to a player before starting a slow crawl towards said player. Now this hand goes down really quickly, but you need to take it down really quickly to avoid the second part of this attack, indicated by Nero jumping to the edge of the arena and readying Augmented Uprising, a very large conal AoE. If the hand is not destroyed, it will, just as before, push the players tethered to across the arena into the electricity, giving you quite the virulent bleed effect, and it may make dodging Nero's conal attack impossible, resulting in your untimely doom. Augmented Suffering will see Nero leap into the middle of the arena as these floor indicators go out. Now, what these arrow-shaped indicators sliding across the floor are indicating is that Nero's about to do an attack that has a pushback mechanic. To avoid the shock of getting pushed into the electric border around the arena, simply stack on or near the boss. And finally, Wheel of Suffering is an AoE attack directly around Nero, and Iron Uprising is a small conal attack directly in front of him. As always, just step out of the yuck to avoid taking any damage. With that, Nero's down, and you can move on to Gaius van Baelsar. Now this fight is probably more drastically changed than most, and they made it so much better. Gaius also now has a total of 3 phases. The first is going to begin just after he's pulled, and it's best just to keep him in or toward the center of the arena. It doesn't really matter too much, just don't pull him back to the far wall. You'll see why later. He's going to open this fight with Hora de Bella, an unavoidable AoE that will do moderate damage. A quick AoE heal, and you're good. Terminus Eft will have no cast time, but it will be indicated by these 3 large X's that will do damage in a straight line in front of them, Gaius's trademark move. To avoid this, you can pan your camera and see which direction they're pointing in. Be sure you're not standing in front of them to avoid all damage. Phantasmata will create 5 shadows of Gaius that will line up against the back wall, each doing their own mini Terminus Eft. Now there's no floor indicators for this one until right at the last second when it's too late to dodge it, so you need to simply look to see where the shadows are and stand in between them to avoid taking any damage. This is also why you do not want to hold him against the back wall. That's where those shadows are always going to appear. Innocence is his tank buster. Mitigate and heal as usual. Festina Lenta is a stack mechanic that works just like any other stack mechanic. Everyone groups up to split the damage and heal. Ductus will see Gaius leap into the center of the arena and cause 2 AoE indicators in the corner of one side of the arena and 1 in the center of the other. These are going to be followed by more indicators appearing in a straight line from the originals. Now you can move to the safe spot on either side of the arena and wait. When the attack starts going off, simply move to the safe areas as they appear to avoid taking any damage. When Gaius starts getting near death, he's going to go into his second phase, indicated by him crouching down in the center of the arena to prepare for his big attack as he becomes invulnerable and 4 Phantom Gaiuses appear. Now these 4 Phantoms are going to be stationary, and you also cannot move them, so it's best just for all party members to target the same Phantom to make avoiding their attacks easier, which are also the same attacks the original Gaius had. So pay attention to your surroundings, because it's very easy to miss a Ductus or a Phantasmata during this phase, especially when they happen back to back. Whether or not all the Phantoms go down before Gaius's blade energy gauge fills up, when it does, he's going to unleash his ultimate attack. Vini Vidi Vici. I love saying that. If any of the Phantoms are still alive, ya wipe. If not, prepare for some big heals. Real quick side note here. During one of my roulettes, we were able to get Gaius down to 0.01% health. But instead of avoiding this phase of the battle, he just stopped taking damage until the Phantoms appeared. So there's no way to skip this part of the fight as far as I'm aware. But after all that's over, Gaius will enter phase 3 and resort to nothing but auto attacks and spamming Hora de Bella until he's down. And with that, the Praetorium is finished. And now it's time for me to get working on the Ultima battle walkthrough. As always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave it in the comments and I will see what I can do. If this video was helpful, a like and a sub if you haven't already would be greatly appreciated. But no pressure, never any pressure. And as I always say, it's been a hoot. Until next time, have fun.